Hello, everybody. The topic that we are going to discuss today is gender and international relations. The study of international politics has traditionally been gender blind. In a discipline that focused primarily on states and interstate relations, sexual politics and gender relations appeared to be of little or no relevance. Since the 1980s, however, feminist perspectives on world affairs have gained growing prominence. To a large degree, this reflected a growing acceptance that people's understanding of the world is shaped by the social and historical context in which they live and work. This implied, amongst other things, that global politics could be understood through a gender lens. Women have always been a part of world politics. It is just that their role and contribution has been ignored. Putting a gender lens on global politics means recognizing the extent to which the concepts, theories, and assumptions through which the world has conventionally been understood as gendered. Gender analysis is thus the analysis of masculine and feminine identities, symbols, and structures and how they shape global politics. Not only does this involve exposing what are seen as masculinist biases that run through the conceptual framework of mainstream theory, but this conceptual framework has also in some ways been recast to take account of feminist perceptions. Feminist theories have only been widely applied to the study of international and global issues since the late 1980s, some 20 years after feminism had influenced other areas of the social sciences. Since then, however, gender perspectives have gained growing prominence, alongside other critical theories that have, in their various ways, challenged mainstream realist and liberal approaches. There are two main ways which take account of how prevailing gender relations alter analytical and theoretical approaches to global politics. These are sometimes called empirical feminism and analytical feminism. Empirical feminism is primarily concerned to add women to existing analytical frameworks. This perspective, influenced in particular by liberal feminism, has an essentially empirical orientation because it addresses the underrepresentation or misrepresentation of women in a discipline that has conventionally focused only on male dominated institutions and processes. Its critique of conventional approaches to international politics is thus encapsulated in the question, where are the women? Making feminist sense of international politics, therefore, means recognizing the previously invisible contributions that women make to shaping world politics, as, for example, domestic workers of various kinds, migrant laborers, diplomats' wives, and so forth. Analytical feminism, by contrast, is concerned to highlight the gender biases that pervade the theoretical framework and key concepts of mainstream international theory, and particularly realism. It is analytical in that it addresses the issue of how the world is seen and understood, drawing on the ideas of difference feminism. Whereas mainstream theories have traditionally been presented as gender neutral, analytical feminism uncovers hidden assumptions that stem from the fact that such theories derive from a social and political context in which male domination is taken for granted. Key concepts and ideas of mainstream theories therefore reflect a masculinist bias. Standpoint feminism has been particularly influential in demonstrating how male dominated conventional theories of international politics are. Gendered perspectives on nations and nationalism have also been developed. These have adopted a number of approaches, but one important aspect of gendering nationalism has focused on the extent to which women have been used to mobilize the cultural heritage of an ethnic, religious, or national group. As such, gender becomes entangled with issues of national or cultural difference. Feminism does not contain a theory of the state as such. Furthermore, feminists have usually not regarded the nature of the state power as a central political issue, preferring instead to concentrate on the deeper structure of male power centered on the institutions such as family. Radical feminists have argued that patriarchy operates in and through the state, meaning that the state is in fact a patriarchal state. However, there are contrasting instrumentalist and structuralist versions of this argument. The instrumentalist approach views the state as little more than an agent or tool used by men to defend their interests and uphold the structures of patriarchy. This line of argument draws on the core feminist belief that patriarchy is upheld by the division of society into distinct public and private spheres of life. The subordination of women has traditionally been accomplished through their confinement to a private sphere of family and domestic responsibilities, turning them into housewives and mothers, and through their exclusion from a public realm centered on politics and economy. In this view, the state is run by men for men. Whereas instrumentalist arguments focus on the personnel of the state, and particularly the state elite, structuralist arguments tend to emphasize the degree to which the state institutions are embedded in a wider patriarchal system. Modern radical feminists have paid particular attention to the emergence of the welfare state, seeing it as the expression of a new kind of patriarchal power. The gendered character of the state is not only significant in consolidating and possibly extending the internal structures of male power, but also in shaping the external behavior of states and thus the structure of the international system. A patriarchal state system is thus one that is prone to conflict and war. Gendered perspectives on nations and nationalism have also been developed. These have adopted a number of approaches, but one important aspect of gendering nationalism has focused on the extent to which women have been used to symbolize the cultural heritage of an ethnic, religious, or national group. As such, gender becomes entangled with the issue of national or cultural difference. This can be seen in the common tendency to depict the nation in explicitly gendered terms, usually as the motherland, but sometimes as the fatherland. Feminist analysis has placed particular emphasis on developing a gendered conception of security and war. Conventional approaches to the security present it as the highest end of international politics. In this view, states have prime responsibility for maintaining security as reflected in the notion of national security. The major threats to security are therefore external, coming in particular from other states. In this way, the threat to violence and other forms of physical coercion are intrinsically linked to the prospect of interstate war. National security is thus closely linked to the prevention of such wars, usually through a buildup of military capacity to deter potential aggressors. Feminists, for their part, have criticized this view of security on two grounds. First, it is premised on masculinist assumptions about rivalry, competition, and inevitable conflict arising from a tendency to see the world in terms of interactions among a series of power-seeking autonomous actors. Second, the conventional idea of national security tends to be self-defeating as a result of the security paradox. Feminist theorists, by contrast, have embraced alternative conceptions of security, most commonly the notion of human security. Feminists have been drawn to a broader and multidimensional notion of security, both through long-standing concerns about violence against women in family and domestic life, and through an awareness of growing threats to women arising, for example, from sex slavery and armed conflict. From a gender perspective, therefore, the apparently clear distinction between war and peace, which arise from a primary concern with the threat of interstate war, is quite bogus and merely serves to conceal the wide range of other threats from which women suffer. The absence of war in the conventional sense certainly does not guarantee that people, and especially women, live without fear or safe from want. However, feminists have gone further than simply gendering security. They have also sought to apply a gender lens to the understanding of war. Feminist theorizing on economic issues has tended to stress the ways in which the sexual division of labor serves the economic interests of capitalism, as well as the extent to which the conceptual framework of conventional political economy has been constructed on masculinist bias. Such ideas have influenced feminist thinking about both globalization and development. Thank you very much. If you liked this video, please subscribe to my channel Takshashila and like, share all the videos here.